Welcome to Techzine TV.
Welcome to a new episode of Techzine TV. And we're here at HPE Discover, and we invited one of the influencers here, Markus Leinonen from Tech Enthusiast, to talk with us about what HPE is announcing during HPE Discover. With me is, of course, my colleague, Sander. Welcome, Sander.
Hello.
Sander.
Again.
Sander.
Yeah, my name is not Sander, it's Sander.
Yeah, I know, but in English it sounds...
Yeah, no, it's fine. It's fine.
Welcome, Markus.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, great to have you here. You've been following HPE for quite some time. I learned from Ben. So can you tell me a bit more about what your idea is doing Discover? Are you
Or maybe
excited?
a bit of background maybe before.
Oh yeah, that's
before we
also
start,
possible.
Maybe that
Yeah.
helps as well.
Sure. So I've been doing this and that, a lot of kind of things with HP for about maybe 18 years now. I remember like 2007, I delivered my first training about ProLiant DL's Generation 5 to a Finnish audience back in the day. And then I continued doing the classroom certification trainings for about maybe 10, 15 years and so on. And then I transitioned to YouTube channels and social media about 6 years ago.
So you know a lot about the basics and the compute and the hybrid cloud stuff that HPE is announcing and it's working on.
Yeah.
Do you keep up to your knowledge level by following training sessions yourself, or?
Yeah, I do that all the time. Yeah, I follow all the news and I participate in events as much as I can and watch keynotes and so on. So that's kind of my passion.
Huh?
Yeah.
So you can deploy a whole HPE private cloud small business yourself, or business edition, what it's called these days.
Yeah, I get to test drive many of those, and then I visit the customer innovation centers, and I'm lucky enough to do some projects every now and then with them, like educating their partners and customers and internal people and so on. So a lot of different kind of things with HP.
Yeah. So let's just start a little bit generically when it comes to GreenLake. What's your have you been following that from the get-go as well, right? So
yeah.
How did you see that evolve over the years? Because from my side, I see it is gaining traction.
Oh yeah.
But it's not going as quickly as I would have expected at first, or probably also as quickly as HPE had expected, maybe, because the annual run rate is still not extremely high compared to the total revenue.
Yeah.
What is your view on GreenLake in general? How it did and where it excels and where it may have some extra work?
Yeah, first of all, it's a fantastic platform. You know, I followed that concept already like maybe 10 years. It evolved from, flex capacity services. It was like about 10, 12 years ago. And then it evolved to GreenLake. And it actually started, I think, in the Netherlands. So that's where it started.
I actually knew that factoid. I
Yeah.
forgot it, but now I remember.
Exactly.
Because you mentioned it. Yeah.
That's right. So I think it's fantastic. And of course, other vendors have their own, similar kind of things.
But if it's fantastic, why isn't it adopted faster than expected?
There. If you ask me, when you ask me, my opinion is that HP has the package of being an infrastructure provider and box mover, and it still hasn't picked up the pace as much as maybe HPE or others have hoped. I don't know if it's the HPE to blame. Maybe it's also the customer's mindset that they don't think that HPE is now actually delivering this. I honestly think that customers don't realize that HPE has this fantastic service and what it can do, because it is really, really mature already. It has been there for many years and it can do anything. Aruba is involved and everything is there. So
I think Aruba was the first service deployed on GreenLake, right? Or was it?
No, actually, Aruba joined a little bit later, but they've had their, central there for a long time. But then central joined GreenLake at some point, like a few years ago.
It has been around for several years. It has been marketed. Partners have been trained, but still, you don't see. I do see a more uptake with AI coming in, because buying an AI infrastructure is very expensive, and doing that in a GreenLake way is probably more affordable. So I do see options for organizations there, but yeah, I share that it's a good product, and the vision behind it is really good, but I don't see why customers are not taking it on as fast as we expected.
Yeah, well, in the beginning, at least, there was a clear reason, in my opinion, at least, because it was quite confusing. What is GreenLake and what is not? It was financial services in the beginning, then it evolved to platform and only covered certain, areas. And then there was the CapEx and OpEx model, and they called both GreenLake in the beginning.
Yeah.
And it was very confusing in the beginning, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
And good for me because I'm doing training and simplification. So
you get your job.
And so I got to do a lot of simplification and explanation for the customers.
Yeah.
However, now past couple of years, I truly think that it has evolved and matured into a point that it is highly competitive to public cloud offerings. Seriously, it is. But still, I think there's education to be done.
Isn't there also a sense of, once you go for a platform, there's this immediate connotation of, okay, I'm going to take everything from the same vendor. And HPE has always been very clear about that's not the point, right? That's not their goal. But I think, maybe it is their goal, but it's at least what they say is not their goal, right? So you want to be open. You can want to give you whatever you want. I'm not going to make you feel obligated to take everything from this. You can also use your own stuff. That's also quite confusing, right? Because I think a lot of customers and a lot of people expect when you say, look, we have one platform now, that you're also going to go for the proper full stack play, which they're basically doing with the private cloud stacks and all that stuff. For the rest, it still is very optional. Maybe that's the word. I think that doesn't help either, right?
That is a very good point, actually. It is a good point. Maybe it would help if one day HPE would flip the switch, like now you have to do it GreenLake way. So that would, but of course that's practically impossible because there's a lot of, especially smaller businesses who still actually buy just one server every now and then, and you want to service those as well. I don't think if we ever will be in the world where companies like HPE can be fully cloud companies, like everything is under GreenLake or whatever you want to call it. But
some of their competitors, like I think, are thinking in that direction at least.
Sure.
I think it's good for HPE that they don't.
Yeah.
But it is then intrinsically a platform play becomes more difficult. And if you do focus on getting everybody locked in, basically.
I think if you do that, choice, if you make the choice that you only provide everything like as a service or consumption-based models, then you do lose some customers as well. But then that's a business choice. You can just accept it that you lose some smaller businesses maybe, and you focus on only those companies that accept the consumption-based ID model.
Yeah, but what you see now, I think, is that they're really into that layer on top of the software layer on top of the infrastructure on AI, but also on the other things. With all the we've seen this week announcements of OpsRamp getting all sorts of stuff, and the cloud ops suite, with all these things. Maybe that's the thing to actually kickstart higher growth as well.
Spot on. I think that's a really good observation because if you think about HP has always been big on acquisitions. Yeah. It always buys all its IP, not all, but a lot of its IP is acquired from outside of the company. Yeah. So the past, I don't know how many, 20 acquisitions, you have to go all the way back to, I think, 2019 Cray. That was the last hardware acquisition, but everything after that, Zerdos and Batchyderms and determinant data, AIs and OpsRamps and so on, they're software. It's software. Yeah. But of course, it's easy to integrate into their, infrastructure offering and GreenLake. Yeah.
Do you see HPE has I'm not sure how familiar you are with the offerings of the others in the industry.
Somewhat.
But you must have conversations with people as well about this.
Sure.
What's the defining or the differentiating characteristic for HPE in this discussion?
Well, if you talk about, for example, Dell, they have Apex, and that's the closest competitor, I think, to HPE GreenLake. Quite honestly, I think they're doing exactly the same things and quite as well as HPE, but they are still about 2 years behind.
Yeah.
So they
don't do so much software at Dell.
That's true, but Dell doesn't to begin with. Actually, talking about those software acquisitions, they haven't done that much software as HP has done lately. So that is one differentiator there.
Yeah, so they choose more to just sell the hardware and If it's an AI thing, they will partner with NVIDIA, so you can get the NVIDIA software stack. But that's where it ends.
Yeah,
maybe
Yeah.
that's still the sort of the endpoint solution kind of genetics in Dell. You know, they're still used to the selling laptops and all that stuff. And I think
They're still a box mover in the end.
I think
yeah.
when HP split, I think that was. I think it would have been very hard to do what HP is doing now if they'd stayed together with the transactional part of the company, right?
100%.
And this is something that's in your culture at the end.
Yeah.
So I think Dell suffers. I mean, it's a choice.
Yeah.
But let's not forget that Dell owned VMware. So they had a large software stack, but they sold it off.
Yeah, well, we never really understood why there was more integration between those two. But I mean, that's a different topic. But yeah.
Yeah. Well, I guess it was because they wanted to keep their partnerships with others like Lenovo and HP and so on. You know, they wanted to keep VMware.
But I think Antonio Neri made a very good point earlier today during the Q&A when he said, "Look, we have our VME offering now, but we're still a VMware partner as well."
Oh yeah.
And I think if you're not ready to do both in this market,
Exactly.
then you're screwed. So,
I I agree with that as well. I remember I made an interview with Brad Parks, who is the I don't know what's his official title, but he's from Morpheus. And when they announced this VME or it's supposed to be called VM Essentials, I was schooled about this when I said VM.
really?
But yeah, it's VM Essentials. Remember that? So
we always call it VME, but
no more. Anyway, so I made an interview with him and I made a mistake and I said that, okay, so you announced a competitor to VMware, and he immediately corrected me, quite rightfully so, that they are not trying to compete. It's just simply an alternative for customers. They are happy to do VMware as well on the platform. But
yeah, but I mean, I think obviously it is a competitor to vSphere, but I mean, they just want. I mean, I think HPE wants to pick up the pieces that fall off the wagon.
Yeah.
From Broadcom. But Broadcom doesn't want anymore. So the vSphere only customers look.
So Broadcom is happy as long as VMware Essentials or VME or however you want to call it stays in line with what it is now. As soon as HPE will integrate more of the automation that Morpheus offers and the ops ramp functionality, if that gets more integrated and bigger, and maybe even some Aruba or maybe in the future Juniper technology gets in there, then it becomes a full suite, and then it begins to compete with VMware Cloud Foundation, and then the relation with Broadcom becomes a bit more difficult, I think.
Yeah. I mean, of course, if you think about it from spec to spec, it is, if you want to look at it like that, it is a competitor, of course. But if you think about it from HPE Morpheus perspective, they will continue support running both environments, the HPE VM and VMware. So in that sense, it is not competing. So if somebody wants to run VMware VMs on Morpheus, they are not saying, "Oh no, you have to migrate to HPE."
No,
so in that sense,
you're completely right. But I mean, it's what do you call it, co-opetition or whatever it's called.
Yeah, I love that, by the way.
Weird portmanteaus or whatever it's called.
That's a good term.
Yeah. Even though there must be, like what Koen says as well. There must be a point where you say, how much are you willing to integrate from an HPE perspective? And coming back to the point that I made earlier, how much of a platform do you want to make this?
Yeah.
If it's purely about we want to have people who want a hypervisor select this, fine.
Yeah.
And they're going to get a lot of traction anyway on this.
That's right.
But somebody in the company, and I kind of hope they already saw it, but somebody in the company will see the opportunity. I think, what if we? Because now you have.
It's not like Broadcom made VMware really cheap. So there is some margin to be made there.
And now, for example, now you have the Aruba part of the business that can offer NSX-like capabilities on their smart switches, and that's going to be sort of present in more stuff of them. So you could see sort of an evolution towards a proper competitor for VCF.
Yeah, but even if you dissect VCF, it starts with vSphere, then you have vSAN, so that's storage. well, HPE has a giant storage portfolio, so let's integrate that. Then you have, what's the name of the automation suite again of VMware? They changed the name.
I don't know. They've changed it so many times.
The Aria something
Full-time
like
keeping
that.
up.
It used to be called Aria, but I'm not
Yeah,
sure what it's called
something
now.
like
Yeah.
that. But that's kind of where Morpheus comes in. Now you have NSX, that's the whole network slicing and dicing. Now that's where Aruba and Juniper technology can come in. So yeah, if you integrate everything, then you do have a VCF. But at the other side, if you just offer like the vSphere alternative, it is an opportunity to upgrade those customers to a GreenLake platform and let them do more.
100%.
So let's just go back to what HPE announced this week. What was your favorite one in terms of what made you the tech enthusiast?
What did you think? Oh, that's new training coming in.
Good one. Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good question, because usually it's very easy for me to pick my favorite, and usually it actually they make it easy, because last year's, if you remember, if you think about last year, it was the private cloud AI, of course, the big thing with Jensen there, and before that it was the AI public cloud with Aleph Alpha.
I don't agree.
No?
No, last year it was the private cloud AI and the AI factory thing and etc.
Yeah.
That was the main announcement, and there was like, oh yeah, we also got VME. That's a new thing we're developing. There's going to be a new virtualization alternative.
That's right. Yeah.
And that's where they stopped talking.
Yeah.
And I wrote a couple analysis, and we all went viral because the whole industry was looking for a VMware alternative. So that kind of exploded in their face, like, oh, this is bigger than we thought.
Correct.
So yeah, they had their main announcement during the show was the whole AI thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it got very little traction because the HPE VME thing went so big.
The thing is that in Las Vegas last year, they did make that kind of like, I don't know what I even call it, a stealth announcement or something about they mentioned it, but it wasn't anywhere in the show floor or anything like that. You couldn't see it in action because I think it wasn't there yet or something. It was just like a development announcement, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I think PCAI was, for me at least, the biggest announcement. But of course, if you think about Barcelona then, where they actually made the VME announcement, by far the biggest attention grabber there.
And this year?
Yeah, this year. I think all of them, all the main ones. We have CloudOps, which is really, really good. Like bundling all three workload lifecycle management software as one. And you don't have to pre-decide how much of this you want, like OpsRamp and Morpheus and so on. You pay for what you... I love that. GreenLake Intelligence, I love that as well. I can't decide between those two.
Yeah, but GreenLake Intelligence is more of a framework, right? It's not necessarily... I mean, it is a natural evolution of what you get when you've finished the AI ops game and think, well, what can we add to this?
Yeah.
And you get into the agentic stuff that you add on to the AI ops, right?
I agree.
But I mean, I think it's conceptually it's the biggest announcement. Intelligence, I think.
I know
it is a very important one, I think. But yeah.
And I made a video already about this announcement, and there I mentioned that the language they used with GreenLake Intelligence reminds me a lot of InfoSight, that came with Nimble Storage. That it was everything about like gathering trillions of data points and using machine learning to like solve problems before they occur. Only now they are expanding it outside of storage. So we have these AI agents, one for storage, one for network, one for compute, and dozens of them independent, specialized AIs. Yeah. So yeah, it's nothing groundbreaking, but still, it is a really, really good addition to GreenLake.
I think from an architectural standpoint, it can be quite groundbreaking if they do it well.
It can.
But because the agents themselves have been around for longer, right? Most of them, so they're not new.
Yeah.
But sometimes I do have this. I wonder whether there's some parts of it is agentic washing that's going on. Because I always try to find, look, what is agentic about this, right? And it's extremely hard sometimes to not only with HPE but with all of the others as well. So what? Because
I think that is a part of the future in the end, because you have all these different agents, and in the future they probably talk to each other, and there is one overlying thing that brings them all together. And if you analyze,
but as it is now, I'm not sure if I would call it.
I don't know if it's full agentic right now, to be honest.
Well, I don't know the technology behind, so difficult to say what it is.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. It can be marketing as well, like with many others and AI washing.
No, marketing.
But actually, in the end of the day, I don't much care if it works.
Yeah.
You call it whatever you want, agentic or something, but if it really can solve my problems in my whole environment just like that, I would be very happy as a sysadmin.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah.
I mean, I would be too. But
Yeah.
And how do you look at the whole AI factory thing?
Yeah, interesting, huh? So AI factories, industry has been talking about those like for forever, like Dell's and
Is that something you're going to give training in as well?
it's super interesting. It is very interesting. The whole idea that you can get like some kind of AI in a box solution that you can easily get started with. It's very, very appealing because, building up AI is complicated. So if HPE can bring something like this turnkey solution, there's an if there. I want to see it first, but if it works like that, I think there is a huge market for that.
And also, it is also something that appeals to what a lot of governments want as well, right? For
Absolutely.
the Dutch government has been advocating AI factories for, I don't know, some time now.
Yeah.
We need AI factories. We need a couple of gigafactories and some normal AI. So there's a demand from the executive branch of governments as well.
Absolutely.
And obviously then it can be very lucrative to actually be a part of that.
Oh yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And one of the announcements was one of the factories was the sovereign, AI factory. So that's designed for government. So
I think they can make a lot of they can make a lot of waves in the
definitely
in the sovereign sphere, right? Yeah.
And as far as I understand, I'm not absolutely certain, but Dell has AI factories as well, and with NVIDIA. But to my understanding, it's a little bit more like a framework design still compared to what HPE can offer.
Well, most of them are reference designs or
reference architectures. Yes,
and that's good. I mean, that's a good start, but it's not
exactly.
It's not a turnkey AI factory yet. Right?
No, exactly. Yeah,
have to do a lot of work on that.
Yeah. That's right. Yeah. But of course, there's the flip side that if you try to make do it all AI, you just can't do it. There's so many different needs and requirements. So maybe reference architecture is better for some customers, but
for some at least. Yeah, I'm pretty sure for some.
Oh,
for most, I think they just want one box to solve it all.
Oh, that would be so cool. Yeah.
The sovereign discussion is heating up in many European countries. Is that in Finland as well?
Oh yeah. It seems to be a European thing. Yeah. It seems to be very much a European thing.
But we don't read a local Finnish newspaper.
Yeah.
So.
You don't?
No.
So
let's ask someone who's
our Finnish is a bit rusty.
Yeah.
No. Yeah, it is an increasingly big thing in Finland and Scandinavia as well. So yeah, we are very worried about where the data lives and who has access to it. So yeah, it has been. It's not a new thing for us. We have always been kind of conscious of that.
I tried to ask Antonio about this today, but he didn't really answer my question.
I noticed he didn't. He didn't. He went a little bit around.
Because I think it must have an impact on HPE's strategy moving forward, especially with their cloud offerings, because at the end of the day, they're an American company,
right? Yeah.
And there may be some things that they're offering that will fall under some sort of a regulation against non-EU or non-European technologies that must have an impact on how HPE looks at that evolution of whatever it is they're doing.
100%.
But I mean, unfortunately, I'm going to ask him tomorrow again. So.
Yeah, let's see. Because in the end, you also want like an air-gapped GreenLake option.
Yeah,
right.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
Because
That's right.
You want to have the cloud capabilities, but without
the connection to HPE.
And you can have it completely private, but then you probably cannot have all the GreenLake features.
That's right. That's right.
You want all the GreenLake features, and you want to have completely air gapped.
Yeah.
It's going to be interesting to see.
But I have to give it to HP because lately they have been announcing a lot of these things. Like I believe it was last time in Barcelona they announced this disconnected mode for their Alletra MP box as well. So they are actually taking this into account.
Yeah, but if you take OpsRamp and Morpheus and bringing the agents in and doing more and more automated. That is interesting as well if you can run that on premise but air gapped as well. So the question is, can they offer something disconnected as well?
That's true. Very true.
Interesting.
Very true.
Yeah. And so finally, and then we're going to wrap up.
Yeah.
Where do you see? But what do you see the evolution going? What do you think? They really need this, and they're probably quite close because you can see where things are going in general, right? And as somebody who follows the market, at least I hope.
So you, at least the interest is there.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you mean HPE?
Yeah.
So if you want my honest opinion, I think there was a moment of struggle, but this does not limit. It's not limited to HPE. Like traditional infrastructure providers like Lenovo and Dell, this whole AI thing came overnight and caught all of us by surprise. Or what's the expression?
I hope not. I mean, but
no. On the other hand, AI has been there for decades. It's nothing new in a sense of like enterprise IT has been doing AI for forever. It's not a new thing in that sense. But the evolution, like what ChatGPT introduced to us, that came very quickly, and then it flooded over to enterprise IT quickly. So there was a time, like let's say a year from ChatGPT announcement, let's say, it was a little bit of a mess. Everybody wanted to be AI without knowing what to do with AI in a way that it is understood today. However, if I listen to their keynote right now today, it is actually that it has much more substance than it had like, let's say 2-3 years ago when they started to talk about AI.
I think the very first thing around AI that I can clearly remember, I think that was a couple of years ago during one of the Discovers, was that GreenLake for LLM kind of thing.
Exactly.
That was the first thing. Oh, that's not. That's okay.
It was the AI public cloud kind of thing that they announced.
Yeah. The first thing, and it definitely has become a lot more mature.
Oh yeah. But it's really, really interesting and difficult at the same time to try to see where HPE, for example, is now going with this AI. There's multiple avenues you can go, but my hope is that HPE still continues to focus on infrastructure. Let's not forget that this part is the part of the business that HPE does well. And what customers actually love. Their ProLiants, their basic stuff, Alletras, and these things, they're brilliant boxes, maybe best on the market. So don't forget that at least.
Yeah, but they're starting to call themselves more and more a software company, right?
That's right.
Again today.
Yeah.
And I think on the one hand I understand it, but it's a complete 180, not a 360. That would be it's a complete 180. Compared to about 7 or 8 years ago, because I distinctly remember an interview I did with the country manager for the Netherlands, and he was, we are the infrastructure company.
Right.
We don't care about software. We're the infrastructure company.
Right.
Oh, that has changed a little bit.
He moved on to software companies.
Moved on very quickly to move to. Oh yeah. Yeah.
But do you remember Fidelma's briefing yesterday? I think it was yesterday. So that was actually one of my questions they asked. That thinking about all these acquisitions, for example, is HPE turning into a software company? And Fidelma was kind of laughing and said that no, we are an infrastructure company. So
maybe you should have a chat with Antonio then.
Maybe
get on the same page.
Yeah, same page, same story.
All right.
Okay, thank you, Markus, for joining us on Techzine TV.
Thank you.
And thank you all for watching from HPE Discover, and there's more to come, so please keep watching.
Thank you for watching Techzine TV, the channel about enterprise technology that brings you IT insights and analyses from events all around the globe. We cover everything, everywhere. Visit techzine.eu for more written in-depth articles and analysis, or keep watching techzine.tv. Don't forget to subscribe to our channels and share your favorite videos with your colleagues. We'll see you soon.